Afternoon, guys, and welcome back to the Kieran Carter Racing Show for this week's Midweek Outlook video, looking at all the novice hurdlers this week, running from Tuesday through till Friday. Actually, there's none for Tuesday. It's just Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are the ones that I've got from my tracker that I think could run a decent race this week. If declared on Thursday and Friday, obviously we'll find out as we go along. But starting with Wednesday, there's two races I've got to cover at Haydock. The first being the 1208, the introductory hurdle. Sadly, only 3 runners, but 2 of these will intrigue me. The first one is obviously My Daddy Paddy. Will have his second run after winning really nicely up at Carlisle, beating Harbour's Island. Now, Harbour's Island's not exactly done a lot for the form. I think he was 7th at Foss last time out. It was either Foss or Newbury. I can't remember which one it was. So I'm not sure whether he's done too much to the form, but My Daddy Paddy couldn't do much more than win the way he did. Obviously, he is the favourite for the Supreme. He'd like to think he's going to go off a fairly short price for this as well and see if he can get the job done. And then the bookies will probably be slashing him even shorter for the Supreme Novice, but he's interested. But he's got to go up against a horse of Lucinda Russell's Smoke Trail, point-to-point winner who won very nicely up at Kelso first time out. One wasn't fancy, was 9-1 that day, and he could potentially put it up to My Daddy Paddy and could make it a decent race. But with it only being 3 runners, I think it's going to be more tactical than anything else, but we shall see what happens. The other race I want to touch on is the 138, the novice hurdle over 3 miles, and you've got Legend for Lucinda Russell in here, who's second up at Perth. The Scorpio Rising of Ollie Murphy's. That was a decent run first time up. Certainly appreciate the step up in trip to 3 miles. Inish Corker for Rebecca Curtis. Unseated rider on first start, but then was a good second up at Foss last. 3 mile point-to-point winner, so we'll certainly enjoy the step up to 3 miles. And then Killer Bianco for the Skelton team. Again, another one stepping up to 3 miles for the first time after being 4th at Uttoxeter. Now, most of the Skeltons normally have come on for the run, especially when they've run started in October, early November. They seem to finish placed or run okay and then come on for the run. So he could be a player for the McNeil family and the Skeltons for sure. So it looks a very decent race and should have plenty of winners coming from it. We then go over to Thursday and we start at Leicester, where there's an interesting one at 2 o'clock. Is a nice novice hurdle where Harry Lowes is in here. He potentially could reappear after a nice win at Exeter for the Skeltons. Very, very impressive that day. Off the point-to-point scene, goes in. I don't think he was that short. I don't think he was short, but not as short as potentially he could the way he won. Looks a very, very nice prospect. Only at 2 miles. I thought he might have stepped up in trip second time, but they're keeping him at 2 miles for the time being. We should see how he goes. Many people touting this horse as potentially a Turner's horse down the line. He's going to have some stiff competition though. You've got North of Richmond in here for the Alex Hales team now. Because it's Alex Hales trained, no offence to the trainer, but he probably will be a decent price you probably get. But he won very nicely up at Fakenham first time up. Decent recruit to the stable. They think a lot of him. Obviously, he's probably their stable star, to be honest. And potentially he could outrun his other. You're going to probably get a decent price about him because he's from where he's based and where he won first time up. And against Harry Lowes, maybe he could pull it up to him and be a decent prospect. And then the other one is Tread Carefully for the Twiston Davis team. 7th at Chepstow first time up behind Frontier Prince. That form of that race is working out very nicely. Frontier Prince obviously finished second at Cheltenham in a handicap later on in October. And then Tread Carefully was second at Sandown, so improving with the run. Potentially could be a handicapper more down the line, but comes here and then maybe handicaps later on after this, possibly could be his scene. But the fact they've thrown him in here, they obviously think a lot of him. We then move over to Market Raising for one race over there, the 120, where Freshers Week, winner over course and distance, and then was second at Kelso, trying to give weight away to Tip Top Tom of Kim is it Kim Bailey? It's either Kim Bailey or Jamie Snow. I can't remember off the top of my head which one trains him now. But this is trained by Charlie Longston. Having to give weight away to a horse that looked well in and obviously was 1-3 on the day. Could have potential reoccurrence of winning this and will probably be quite short, especially if Harry Lowe, who's also entered here, doesn't come here. You'd expect Fresher's Week to be fairly short and should win this fairly comfortably before moving on to bigger and better things. He's another one that I thought potentially might go down the handicap route after 2 runs now, but they are sticking with novice hurdles. And then the 140 at Wincanton is the last race I'm going to touch on the Thursday, over 2 miles 5 furlongs. Beauty in the Park is in here for Paul Nicholls, third in a bumper, well regarded by the trainer. He very likes this horse a lot. Put it up in his stable tour when he sent me the details. They think she is going to make a very nice hurdler. And Limerick Lass, who won a bumper at Chepstow for Anthony Honeyball. Again, another one who's got a decent profile going and novice hurdling this season. Just going back to that Market Raisin race, the race where I mentioned Harry Lowe's could potentially go there instead of going to Leicester. That is over 2.5 miles. Now, this could be quite key to plans if you're looking to back this horse anti-post potentially for Cheltenham. Now, if he goes 2.5 miles, obviously they've got My Daddy Paddy, who is favourite for the Supreme. Could he be their turn? I think he's going to be their turner's horse. He won very impressively, like I said, first time I exit. Let's see what they do. If he goes to the 2 mile 4 race, maybe it might be worth a punt on him for the turners. And then Friday, we've got some decent action on Friday, especially there's 2 races at Exeter, one at Exeter and one at Sandown, at very, very high quality in the entries. I'm going to touch on Sedgefield first, though. There's 11:48 Lamac Demi, I think I pronounced that correctly, for the Skeltons. Another one that ran late October, was second on debut, likely to come on for the run, and I think he will go close. Probably be short price, to be honest. Tristan Doe will probably be up there to ride him, and although he might be at the other meet, it might be Charlie Todd actually, but he should be fairly short. And in the 12:23, you have Len, who's been well regarded as a bit of a dark horse for Paul Nicholls, point-to-point recruit, and Perfect Pot, who Rebecca Menzies mentioned to me in her stable tour when she sent me through her list of horses to keep an eye on for the season. Potentially a dark horse, was last in a bumper when last seen, but will certainly now thrown over hurdles. It could come on leaps and bounds for hurdle. And then like I said, the 2 races over at Sandown and Exeter, which look really good on decks, on entries currently. Firstly, the 145 at Sandown over 2 mile 4, the grade 2 novice hurdle, where no drama this end is in here. Now, they've had some bookers of prices up. He's as short as 4-6 in places to win this race. Obviously won the grade 2 at Cheltenham at the November meeting very nicely. The plan was to go straight to the Challows. I'm not quite sure whether he will run here, so be aware if you're going to back him at such short price, considering he might not even run yet. You got Cryptic Jim, second at Chepstow on opening start behind Kingston Queen. Obviously had to give that horse weight that day, and then won very nicely at Ascot next time. For the Tizzards, this could potentially be a decent prospect for the future. Obviously, sending him into graded company after 2 runs, they obviously think highly of him. The Blue Room is in here for Ollie Murphy, winner at Chepstow, won very nicely that day, although the form's not exactly been advertised much currently, as I believe the third has unseated a rider last time out of Mark Raisin, one of Skelton's. Quenesta, I think it was, the horse we mentioned. You also got Crackerjack in here for Anthony Honeyball, winner of a bumper, and then won his novice hurdle at Fontwell as he liked very nicely. He could be a potential improver. And then the Skeltons have got Real Quartz, who ran on the same day as My Daddy Paddy at Carlisle and won probably even more impressively, although he was very short that day. I think he's like 1-5. It's a point-to-point recruit. He's a big, strapping horse. Probably going to be a chaser in the making. But he's been thrown into this. They certainly think a lot of him. And the fact they thrown him straight into a Grade 2 off the back of that facile Carlisle win. And then the 1:45, the 2 mile novice hurdle over at Exeter. Captain Hugo is the first one I'm going to mention. Hobbs has 2 in here. He's got Captain Hugo, who won at Newbury. The third from that race, Storming George, has won over the weekend. So that form has been boosted. And he's also got Kilder's Water in here, who I like a lot. I think a lot of this horse, I think he will come on for the run in the Persian Wall. Apparently something was amiss. That's why he didn't run the best. But the fact they threw him in the Persian Wall on Hurdle's debut, they obviously think a lot of him. And if he was to come here, he would definitely be a bet for me in this race. Taking nothing away from Captain Hugo, he won well first time up at Newbury. But Kills Water, I think, will be a better prospect long term. They got Gentleman Debut in here for the Tizard team. Won very nicely at Newton Abbot. The second Apan de Nom of the Skeltons then won a handicap at Cheltenham afterwards. So that form looks strong. Tread Carefully is also in here, but I think he's a handicapper down the line. I really think so. And he probably will go to the Leicester races. That looks a lot weaker than what this is. Nikarat, I think I pronounced that correctly, for Paul Nichols. 5th and 8th in 2 races at Chepstow. Again, like Tread Carefully, I think is more a handicapper down the line. Probably, I'm not quite sure why they haven't gone that route straight off this, but we shall see. I might be wrong. It might be come here and absolutely dot up, but we shall see. On the bow, 5th at Newton Abbot on first start for Harry Derham. Could definitely come on for the run. Harry Derham normally has him up okay first time up, but this one had a long layoff before running first time up at Newton Abbot. So yeah, definitely could come on for the run. Tennessee Tango is another one in here, this time for the Tizards. Was 4th in that race at Chepstow behind Sober Glory. Obviously Sober Glory is currently favourite, I think, for the Challow. So obviously Tennessee Tango will be a nice winner for himself, for the Tizards, but also the Hobbs team would like it, obviously, because that would give a form boost to Sober Glory as well. And then the final horse is Felicius Bunce of the Skeltons, 3rd at Fontwell on debut. Again, another one that ran in the back end of October. You would like to think will come on for the run. If all these get declared, or I wouldn't be surprised if the Hobbs don't run. They won't run both of theirs. They're only run one. But if the rest of them all get declared, this should be some hell of a race, and plenty of winners will be coming from it. And that is that. I hope you all enjoyed the video, guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Plenty of views for the last video, which I really appreciated. I'm trying to put as much content out there for you guys. And I will be back on Thursday, hopefully with a special guest. This time, if I can get the computer to work properly. And we will go from there for the for the weekend preview. But I hope you all have a good day, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Let's hope we can find plenty of winners in the novice hurdles from the Midweek Outlook video this week, as we have done the last few weeks. Gamble responsibly, guys, and happy punting to you all.